Sorry about that, guys. My microphone was not working again. Hey, Sam, how are you? Anyway, apologize for the last 2 minutes and some odd seconds. My microphone was on mute. I don't know why that happened to me yesterday too. So it's something I have to pay attention to. So for those who have been here for 2 minutes, I apologize for wasting those 2 minutes. I'm aware of that now because I've done it 2 days in a row, so it won't happen again. Today, Donald Trump is involved in a catastrophic situation. We are in a what I think is an unthinkable mess right now. Let me just pull my handles up on my arms up on the chair here so I have some room to spread out because I'm probably going to get kind of animated as I talk about this. We are in a mess. Trump is incapable. This is not going to be news to any of you, but Donald Trump is incapable now of making any kind of functional decision, even, I think, a crazy one, when it comes to this war in Iran. I think his mental illness, which appears to be malignant narcissism, and I think his perceived, what we think, is his cognitive decline, which the prevailing opinion from mental health professionals and psychiatrists, at least out in the in the media and independent media, seems to be prefrontal dementia. That seems to have evolved to a point where he cannot make a sensible decision, even if it's he cannot make a logical decision, even if it's a crazy one, and he cannot sustain a decision once he's already made it. That malignant, narcissistic, obsessive need to win seems to be, and I'm going to read a short news blurb from Richard Engel and NBC News that I think validates my point here. Although, again, what I'm saying, oh, hey, Aggie, how are you? Sorry about the sound. That's the second day in a row I've done that. I'll make sure I get that straight, though, in subsequent lives. We are in a situation where Trump is so, what's the word that I'm looking for? He has declined so much cognitively and mentally that these decisions are insane. And even when he makes a deal, he's incapable of sustaining that deal because he so desperately needs to win. He has to remake a new deal after whatever deal that he made. Just bear with. This is all going to make sense in a minute. Richard Engel, NBC News, had a short blurb in their Iran war news ticker, Middle East war news ticker, because it also covers the ongoing genocide in Gaza and the Israel's continued obliteration of cities and towns in Lebanon. But in that ticker, there was a small clip that I caught that you will probably not see today. And I think it's super important. So you can see it up on your screen now. So Engel makes the point. Trump, the headline, Trump had a copy of the latest deal proposals, but chose to attack instead, senior negotiator says. Expressing their frustration with Trump, a senior negotiator directly involved in mediating the talks between the U.S. and Iran, adding that the president had a copy of the latest negotiation proposal, but instead chosen to attack. So Trump had there's these mediators that work in between the Iran and the U.S., right? They could be Pakistanis. We don't know who it is in this case. I mean, Richard Engel is not here in the U.S., so my guess is that it would probably be one of the Pakistani mediators. But again, we don't know. Engel doesn't reveal his source here, right? But it could have been a senior U.S. official, but that's unlikely, and it certainly wasn't a senior Iranian official, right? But so the idiots proposals have been going sort of back and forth between the Iranians and the Americans, and then subsequently over to the idiot here in the United States, to Donald Trump, right? Because there's no direct talks. between the Iranians. Even though Trump says from time to time, they called me, Iran called me, and they asked me to stay. They said, please stop bombing. There are no direct talks. None of that is real. Everything Trump says is a lie. That's a lie. There are no direct talks. And the Iranians, as far as we can tell from reporting and from what the Iranians seem to be putting out on social media, basically have had the same point structure since the ceasefire, since Trump accepted that 10-point structure as the basis of negotiations to start the ceasefire. He told us that on social media, desperate to get out of this war because the price of gas was skyrocketing, and GOP members of the House and the Senate were shitting themselves because the midterms are coming up and they're going to lose, but they don't want to get completely annihilated because of this fucking war and the price of gas and the price of groceries and everything else. They will, by the way. But that's another conversation for another day. So, irrespective, these proposals occasionally go back and forth, and the Iranians have been pretty consistent about it. Trump seems to agree to the proposal, and then he seems to disagree to the proposal. But you never know what's happening. We can tell, reading between the lines, that Trump seems to make agreements with the Iranians, and the Iranians know not to trust him, and then he just breaks the agreements. It seems like he breaks the agreements before they even go back to the Iranians, and the Iranians let them know whether or not they've agreed to whatever the fuck Trump is talking about or not talking about. He breaks them anyway because he's so gone. He's so lost. He is so gone mentally and cognitively. He's just saying things, right? So he had a proposal in his hand that was, I guess, worked out by the idiots around him, right? And I guess I would assume, you never know, but I would assume that proposal had something to do with whatever the most recent proposal that the Iranians sent. We don't know. It could have been batshit crazy nonsense. He could have been sending the Iranians a draft of how proud he was of his $70 million gaudy-ass shit show stadium that they, tore up the south lawn of the White House to build for this week's fucking nonsensical UFC fight. Who knows? He could have sent them, plans for his Arc de Trump, right? The arc that they're building, or the fucking reflecting pool. Who knows? I highly doubt he even knows what he was sending them. But irrespective, according to this senior negotiator, Trump had this document, and it was set to be given to the negotiator, who was going to deliver it to Iran's hardline chief negotiator, which might indicate that maybe we were somewhere near a potential deal. But before the idiot handed the document off to this frustrated negotiator, the idiot ordered last night's strikes on Iran, right? And the only reason that the idiot would have done that, right? The only logical reason is he either figured, because he's the great deal maker and he's the genius in chief, right? Both of which are just him cosplaying deal maker. He's cosplaying president, and for decades he's been cosplaying deal maker, but he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing in either of those areas, right? So maybe to sweeten the deal so that he could get more out of it, he decides to bomb Iran, right? And then the Iranians, as expected, respond to that bombing with a much more significant bombing. Because to Donald Trump, the idiot, it seems like bombing Iran is part of negotiating. To the Iranians, bombing them is an act of war, and they'd subsequently come back and bomb the living shit out of us. And we never know until weeks, if not months later, how effective their bombing was. They tell us what they think they know. They propagandize how successful their bombings were. And CENTCOM, that is Central Command, that whatever general is in control of Central Command, lies like Donald Trump, like everybody else around Trump. Honorable people become just vivacious, unbelievable, comical liars. And that our generals, our lead generals now, whoever is leading up Central Command, are ridiculous liars. They make shit up, right? So we have no idea how much damage that when the Iranians attacked, a U.S. base in Kuwait yesterday. We don't know how much damage is really there because CENTCOM is not saying anything. And when they do say something, they'll lie about it anyway. Did we lose soldiers? Did soldiers get injured? Has the infrastructure been damaged? We'll not know until it comes out. Also, the Iranians bombed two or three other locations. We don't know how significant those bombings were, but we know that the Iranians put a lot into it, right? And we also know that there are two ships that the Iranians attacked, and one ship, two cargo ships trying to cross the Strait of Hormuz that the Iranians attacked, and one ship that the U.S. attacked. It was an Indian tanker, two Indian tankers with a total of 500 people on them that the U.S. attacked. And I think I read the reporting that the Indian government said 3 of their nationals are dead. So we are also attacking ships with innocent people and fucking killing them, by the way. Irrespective. While all that's happening, because the idiot decided to launch a strike while he had a proposal in his hand to either sweeten the deal for the Iranians or scare them into signing the deal, or maybe he forgot about the deal, what was in the deal that he was holding in his hand, and he wanted a better deal because he's incapable, because his cognitive decline renders him incapable of settling on a thing. And his malignant narcissism always requires that he has to win. He has to be the great winner. And I think that mental illness has devolved to such a point right now that he can never win because he never knows when he's winning or when he's losing. I think he's lost that cognitive ability to determine, I won, I had a fantastic victory. We won, we didn't win enough. I gotta win more. I won, I just won, I had the greatest win. Nobody wins like me. Nobody wins like I gotta get a little more. They didn't give enough. I'm gonna get more. The win wasn't that. I gotta win. I won. It was I literally believe that that's what's happening. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating it, maybe not, but my speculation is that's what's going on in that crazy fuck's mind right now. And this war, the outcome of this war is dependent on the non-function, on the mental lack of function of a sociopath. And that's some fucked up shit, my friends. Let me continue. Let me just read this little blurb again to keep me honest, make sure I get the actual news here. Expressing their frustration with Trump, a senior negotiator directly involved in mediating the talks between the U.S. and Iran, adding that the president had a copy of the latest negotiation proposal, but had instead chosen to attack. Trump, they said, quote, has the deal in his hands now, end quote, the senior negotiator said. The American side was expected to deliver the latest proposal to Iran's chief negotiator, Mohammad Baghir Ghalibaf, the hardline speaker of Iran's parliament, they added, but instead, the U.S. proceeded with strikes, further complicating negotiations, they said. So I don't know, guys. I mean, I'm not insisting that I'm right on this point. Maybe I am, off in my perspective on this, but I don't think so. And if I am right, we are in what is, on one hand, a truly absurd situation where you literally have a non-functioning idiot in charge of the U.S. military while it is at war. Just think about that. A non-functional idiot in charge of the U.S. military while the U.S. military is engaged in a war. So you have that reality. And that's ludicrous. But then what is terrifying and utterly catastrophic is that people are getting killed. The decision, the indecision that will consistently come till whenever. This could go on for months. This could go on for years. This could go on for another hour. There's no way to know. But as Donald Trump devolves, the decision-making process associated with this war devolves even further. The military reacts to insane fucking orders or no orders or contradictory orders. Bombs go flying and people die. Our soldiers, God willing, let them all be safe. Let this most recent attack by the Iranians not have hurt or killed any of them. God willing, let this most recent attack from us on the Iranians not have killed anyone in Iran. Because there's nothing worth dying for now. And all of these right-wing loudmouths on Fox News and out here on the fucking internet, right, on social media, that are like, you die for your country. You die for Iran not to have a nuclear bomb. All of that shit, fucking go. I'm sure they'll let you in. Even if you're a 57-year-old man like me, if you're a MAGA extremist and you think they need to do this, let our military, who shouldn't be there because a lunatic is running the show, they shouldn't be there for other reasons, but especially now that a lunatic is running the show, let's take one of them out so they are safe. And let's replace it with you. If you're so fucking courageous, go to your local recruiter and ask them if you could get a waiver because you want to stand up. And if they don't let you in, if you're lucky enough to have a MAGA member of Congress, that runs your district, maybe Andy Ogles, Nancy Mace. I mean, she's got other problems right now. Andy Biggs, Randy Fine, any of them? Sorry, guys, just checking the time because I have a briefing in a few minutes. Any of them. Go to complain to your congressman or your congresswoman, your MAGA congresswoman, and tell them you want to get in the fight. And I wouldn't be surprised if they go over to the idiot and tell them and they find a way to put you in, coach, and maybe pull someone out, because there's nothing worth dying for. And none of these MAGA people would have the balls to go in and try it because they also know there's nothing worth dying for in this crazy fucking war. Anyway, let me check and see if we have any comments before we end the quick live. I don't see anything on YouTube and nothing on Twitch. Doesn't mean there's nothing there. I just don't know how to use them effectively. Tracy, his cabinet doesn't have dementia. What is their excuse? Tracy, you're right. They are pathetic. They are sycophantic weirdos. They're not. I think there's a significant degree of mental illness and personal problems that I think a neuropsychologist or a psychiatrist would have a field day, sitting with those cabinet members and sitting at one of those cabinet meetings. So I think there's plenty of instability to go around at a cabinet meeting, at a Trumpian cabinet meeting. But at the same time, they know what they're doing. Unlike Donald, who is fucking crazy, they know what they're doing. And also, Donald doesn't get a pass because the village idiot I don't think he's devolved to the point where he doesn't know what he's doing. I just think he's a serial killer now. I think he had a taste, I think as a sociopath, I think as a malignant narcissist, after he got a taste of blood, killing innocent people on the high seas in Venezuela, he liked it. I think he got off on it. And like Ted Bundy, with this version of Ted Bundy wouldn't have the balls to go and kill directly himself. He'll use other people to do it. But like Ted Bundy, I speculate that the village idiot has the taste of blood and he likes it now. That I see him as a serial killer at this point. So he knows what he's doing. I think we're going to reach a point where he doesn't know what he's doing at all anymore, but I don't think we're there yet. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap this short episode very quickly now. Sorry for the quickness of it. I got to this a little bit late today. 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 episode at a time. That's how we continue to chunk through and make our way through this madness. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. And keep an eye on my verticals. If you're not subscribed, please make sure you like and subscribe on Substack or YouTube. Please follow me on Twitch. Be well, everybody, and I'll see you soon. Take care.